So I'm going to talk about how we resolve these issues. I'm going to get quite deep into this one, so hang with me as we get through these slides, because you're going to get some really good information here. All right, so the first thing is that what we want to do is we want to address the 5 top things that you need to get sorted out before you even start your training. And the first most important thing is to set your goal. Now, a lot of people, they go, yeah, goal setting. I know about that. I know it's really important, and that's about as far as they go with it. But, I've been coaching people for a long period of time, and the most successful athletes that I've coached have always had very focused goals. People that come onto my program and they go, I want to train for this event. I want to do very well. I want a podium, or I want to be, I want to do a sub 13 on the Peaks Challenge Falls Creek, or a sub 10. Very focused goals. They know exactly what the goal is. They know when it's going to happen, because it's usually an event. And we find that those people are really, really successful. The people who come onto the program and they talk to me and they go, I want to lose a bit of weight, and, I want to ride a bit faster, and, I want to improve my threshold power. Those sort of people we generally find they're a little bit flaky. So we find that they usually lose focus. And I'll talk about focus a little bit later on, because it's important. And the reason for that is that it creates a bit of drive and motivations. It activates the purpose for your training. So when you wake up in the first thing in the morning and you know that you've got to get out and do the training session or whatever, it helps activate you to do that. If you don't have a goal, or your goal's a bit flaky, and you're not really working towards anything, then you don't really have much purpose around your training, and it's kind of a lot easier for you just to, I can skip this session, or, I'm not feeling that great, or I'm a bit tired, or, I just want to lie around in bed and hit the snooze button. So it's good to have that goal there to activate the purpose. Having a fixed date and be measurable are key points. But once you've got a goal, then you start working back from it. This is really where it gets quite exciting. And you get to work out where you are at the moment, and then the steps that you need to take to achieve your goal. And sometimes that goal might be something that you can achieve in the next 12 weeks. It might be something that may take you 3 years, depending on the big goal, a little goal. And like I say, the number one ideal goal is to have an event. So being event-driven, events are fixed dates, they don't change, you're working towards it. So that's a great thing. So if you've got an event coming up, it could be a race or a recreational ride or a holiday over in Europe, and they're great for setting goals. And they really create a good activation of purpose. So if you don't have a goal, then I suggest and strongly recommend that you do get a goal. And even just by having a goal and working towards it, you'll be more successful with your training. All right, the next thing is to have a plan. Now, I alluded to it a little bit in the last screen, is that when you've got a goal, then you need to define how you're going to achieve that. And you've got to define the training required to reach that goal. So I spend a lot of time with my athletes working through where they are at the moment, where they want to go, and then breaking that down into chunks through a training program to help them reach those goals. And we break it down to achievable small goals. And that means that, if you're doing this at home, you want to detail monthly, weekly, and daily tasks. And by doing so, it just makes it a little bit easier, because sometimes you look at the overall big goal and you go, oh, geez, it's just going to take me forever, and I don't know where to start, and those sort of things. So by breaking it down into monthly, weekly, and daily tasks or training sessions, then it makes it really easy to work towards it, because you've got smaller goals that you're just ticking off on a daily basis. And one of the goals may be having a rest day. It doesn't involve doing anything. Some of it may be, obviously, you've got to do a particular training session, and that's good. So that creates good clarity around it. And it also means that you start being able to measure your success. And we'll talk about that a little bit later on for motivations. Obviously, the training that you're doing and the plan that you put together must be specific for the goal that you have. That's really, really, really important. And it must be measurable and achievable. So we've got some fantastic tools around to measure training load. If you're using power, heart rate is great for measuring training load. And then you can, look at how successful you're getting. Are you getting faster? Even down to a simple Strava segment. Are you getting faster on that Strava segment? If you don't have Strava, you can use a hill climb in your area and just time going up it. And the really important thing about plans is that as you train through it, you need to correct as you go. Like when you set out a training program, it is kind of like a little bit of a living document, because things change. You may have a work commitment coming up, family commitment that you need to modify your training program for. You may find that the training needs to be tweaked depending on how you're managing the fatigue of the training program. It might not be enough fatigue or too much fatigue, and I'll go into that a little bit later on. So it's important to be able to correct as you go along. All right, number 3, make the time. So a lot of people come to me and say, I just don't have much time. I'm really time strapped. I've got, a young family. I've got work commitments. I've got a professional job where it's quite stressful, and I spend long hours in the office or wherever, or I'm a shift worker. And you know, it's a big issue. So how do we resolve that?